Howdy Tanglers, Gay Pogue here. Welcome to lesson number 2 in my Zentangle Beginner series. We will be learning a few new tangles and reinforcing what we learned in lesson 1. Now I'm following some of the lessons in the Zentangle Primer, Volume 1 by Rick Roberts and Maria Thomas, the founders of Zentangle. You might find it helpful to watch this video one time through and then pick up your pen and follow along as you rewatch. Either way, you will need to stop and start the video as you go. As always, the supply list and other information are in the description below. Now let's get tangling. Let's pause now for a moment to settle ourselves. Take a few deep breaths and think about things for which we are grateful. With your tile before you, pick up your graphite pencil and make some dots in each corner. Today I'm going to bring them in a little bit more than I did the last time. Maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch away from the edge. And then I'm going to draw some connecting lines. Our string today is going to be one that goes across diagonally, and I'm going to give it a little bit of an arch, not much of one, but a little, and the same below. We're going to aura that line and make our arch. There's our string. The tangle we're going to do is called Shattuck, S-H-A-T-T-U-C-K, by Zentangle Headquarters. So let's turn our tile over and write that on the back. S-H-A-T-T-U-C-K, Z-T-H-Q. And Shattuck is drawn like this. Let's take a second here and put in a few little dots that will help guide us in our tangling. So we'll just start in the middle of the tile. Let's put a tiny little dot there, real light. And then from here to here, a dot between there, halfway between, and over here about halfway between. And then let's put some dots halfway between those dots. So now we have 7 dots. And that'll just help us keep what we're getting ready to do even. So we'll just start here in the middle, and I'm going to draw a line kind of to one side of that little dot and another line to the other side of that dot, like that. And just continue on doing that. By the way, today I'm using a Micron 01 instead of the PN that I used last time. You can use whatever you have on hand. Okay, so we've divided that up nicely. And let's pick one of these spaces here, and we're going to draw a line from one corner up like that. Maybe curving it just a little bit. And then we're going to R that line like this. Now we're going to turn our tiles slightly. We're going to come from this top line and draw it a little higher than this. And then add in these lines. And then, as Rick likes to say, rinse and repeat. And we just go back and forth between those uprights. And then here we kind of fake it, staying within the bounds like that. Now what I want to do here is to mirror what I've drawn in the first section. I want to just like flop it over and mirror it. And so I'm going to mirror this line like that. And then I'm going to mirror this. So I'm going to go and put that there. And then, and if you can try to make these lines match up with these points over here, you'll get a great mirroring pattern. I'm not sure I did it so well there, but it'll work. And then I find this difficult to do sometimes because I'm looking too closely at one side or the other. But what you're going to notice then is that we have created what is called a meta pattern. It's a pattern of patterns. So we have this, then creating this arch. If we just mirror it, it makes it all look something else. And so we just keep continuing on down here, mirroring back and forth. Now there we have it, Shattuck. Now in this corner, we're going to put a pattern, a tangle called Jetties. Let's turn our tile over, and we can write its name on the back, Jetties. My Zentangle HQ. Now to make jetties, we make a series of orbs about yay big, and we'll just scatter them around in this space. We call them orbs instead of circles to give ourselves some latitude in their exact shape. So if they're a little bit wonky, they're still orbs. And a little wonkiness is definitely a good thing. Now I'm going to try to stay within these lines that I put down right in the beginning. Once we've gotten quite a bit of the space done, let's complete it with adding in hollowbar fashion, some orbs that we draw behind these first orbs. So let's just put them here. And let's see, we put one right there. Here's one we can put right there, so we put its boundaries. Put one right here. Another one over here. There's something, and then we're going to come around here. So it'll look like we're drawing some orbs behind the first orbs we laid down. Okay. That ought to do it. Now we're going to draw a belt around each one of these orbs. A whitish belt, and we're going to color it in with our black pen. We're just going to fill it in, taking our time, enjoying the process. Remember when we were little kids and we struggled to color in between the lines? Then after we've done that, we can add a little bitty aura here and a little bitty aura there. And we're going to do that to all of these. This big space of black makes this a drama tangle because it's really dramatic. Duh. So we can just draw these belts and these auras every which way so that this kind of has the feeling of a bunch of balls thrown into a bin. Depending on the time of year you watch this, you could even make these Christmas balls, I guess. Remember to turn your tile so that it's comfortable or your drawing hand to draw these. It's tangles like these that really allow the Zen to flow. You can just relax and enjoy yourself. And there we have Jetties. Finally, let's look at this bottom space down here. I'm thinking of a different version of Bales, which we learned in lesson number 1. Let's turn our tile over and write Bales on the back. And we'll begin as we began before with drawing a rather large grid. Parallel lines, more or less parallel lines, one way, and then kind of perpendicular to that. And we'll draw these RAing that line. And there. As you recall before, we put these little, I don't know, pillars, little arcs from corner to corner on all sides of the squares. So we're going to do that again. Now here's where it's different this time from last time. Let us draw diagonals through each square, like that. Since your squares may vary a bit, because of their brilliant personalities, you really just need to draw the line for each square and not try to go through the whole thing at once, but carefully do what you can. And then turn it the other way. And okay. Now I'm going to draw a little square in the middle where the corners go through, where the lines meet at each of those cross pieces, and then we're going to color it in. Okay, That's going to give it a little drama. Not as much as Jetties, but still a little drama to balance it out. Might notice I'm not making these terribly big, but not terribly small either. You can do it any way you like. The bigger the square is that's colored in, the more drama. Maria talks about tangles having a certain color. Not that we draw them with a colored pencil, but when you hold them out and look at them through squinted eyes, this tangle is going to look lighter than this one. And this one too, because of these blocks. And balancing those shades creates some of the beauty of Zentangle. The deeper you get into it, the more interesting you're going to find the effects you can make with just patterns. Okay, I think that's about it. So we've got our 3 patterns: Jetties, Shattuck, Bales. Now let's put just a little border around this, and I'm going to kind of apply a little pressure here and there and make it look a little more like a decal edge, just a little, go down a little heavier and come up, and kind of wiggle your pen a little bit, just for interest. If you're working with a PN here, this is going to be a little thicker. There. Now we can put our cap on our pen and lay it over to the side and start our shading. On these Shattocks, there are several ways you can shade Shattuck. You can let these white columns be more, well, they're going to feel like they're rising above, because if we shade them on either side, these will look higher than what's beneath. I like to shade with the point of my pencil up against the line. It just gives it more, I don't know, a feeling that the shadow really is coming from beneath. There. Another way you can shade it is to make these look like they're overlapping. You can do that. I'm not going to do that today. But I am going to go around the edge of this tangle. And especially when we get over here next to the border. Because I want the whole frame to have the appearance that it's on the top and what we've tangled is down below. And that's the effect you get with tangling, with shading. Okay. I'm going to put some little graphite in the dots, and kind of dot-like in these crosses there. We're going to come back later and do the torsion on all these. But okay, I've pretty much got all those done. And on the jetties, well, let me do this. Okay. Come back here. Like that. Now on these jetties, I'm just going to pick a side and kind of shade in that side. I think I'll just let this top side on all of them get some shadows. Like that. And of course, what's underneath, you may want to fill in these spaces that don't have an orb with shadows too. Now, I think that's pretty well got it. Let's grab our magic torsion and begin to smooth these little graphite puddles out. Be sure to leave some white space in the middle. That'll be your highlight. Now, you can do a little more shading there. Pull that shadow out from the center on those little pillows. And shadows. Shadows here that slip underneath the edge. You'll probably really notice this when you come on it in the morning and you look at it and you go, oh yeah, it really does sink in there. I think this is where I'm going to leave it today. You may feel an urge to add a border around this, but I will leave that to you. Or not. You can just leave it blank and it's quite nice. But we do need now to put our chop on this. And I think I'm just going to put it right over here. There we go. It's almost like a brand. And then we turn it over and sign it. August 28th, 2023. There you go. My second Zentangle tile. Okay. There we have it. It was good to be with you today. And I hope to see you again here on my channel. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell so that you'll get notified when I put the next lesson up. Thank you.